Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here to break down the 6-game NBA main slate here on Monday. A couple things before I get into the video. We're getting so close to 2,000 subscribers. I think we're at 1.93 or 1.94. So if you're new to the channel, if you've been watching the videos and you're not subscribed and you're enjoying the content, would really appreciate if you guys would hit that subscribe button. And then also I'm doing a weekly giveaway in this channel where all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. It's one entry in the giveaway. Max one comment though per video. It starts in my Monday night showdown video that I had at the beginning of the week. We'll go throughout the week and we'll end at my Monday night showdown video that I'll upload right after this. So how it works is however many videos I've uploaded for the week under the giveaway that many times. So I have 10 videos up for the week under the giveaway 10 times. The winner receives a $20 PayPal for myself. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. So first, let's look back to see how we did on Sunday. So Sunday currently doing pretty solid here. I entered I only had time for the late slate here, so I did a game stack with Dallas and Cleveland just because I wasn't super high on that Utah LA Clippers game. So this is what I went with. I went with Clarkson, a guy I talked about in the video. He was too cheap. I think he was 4.1K. Doncic was my favorite stud, 73 fantasy points. Is a thumbnail for my video for a reason. My computer is frozen again. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Bojan Bogdanovic was the one guy I played in that late game. I think he's 5.1K. Again, I just kind of needed to play someone in that game, so I went with him. Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson, they're just kind of the whole offense for the Cavs. Hardaway wanted the cheap option, Porzingis, and Dwight Powell, I talked about. A little disappointing, but at 3.5K, not terrible, 15 fantasy points. But, yeah, currently winning like 108 off of, I think it was like $8 entry, so not bad right now. We'll see how it finishes up, but I think should definitely cash in this one. So let's move on to the slate for Monday. And this is a pretty appealing 6-game slate. The spreads the over-unders and spreads are not out for all the games yet, so there's 6 games. We only got them out for 3 so far. Rockets Grizzlies at 234.5 with the Rockets favored by 6.5. Bucks T-Wolves is sitting at 230.5 with the Bucks favored by 6. 76ers Suns at 223 with the 76ers favored by 1. Then we're missing 3 games here. Portland Golden State, Pelicans, Nets, and then Detroit Washington. So let's jump in the video here. Start at center. Drummond at the top in a great match against Washington. Bigs. You want to target bigs against Washington. And Drummond's just been destroying last few games. We got the possibility of Blake Griffin coming back. I don't think he will be back. But if he does come back, that's obviously a slight hit to Drummond because the offense really is just basically Andre Drummond right now for Detroit. And it's a great matchup. So if Blake Griffin misses again, he's one of the top studs of the slate, definitely. Still no Cat, still no Embiid. We'll talk about some value guys here in a sec. Also no Draymond. Thomas Bryant at 7.4K is viable. It's just probably not going to be the way I go. I think definitely the build for this slate is going to be stars and scrubs. There's a lot of really cheap guys that I feel pretty good about in the slate. So the guys in the mid-range, probably going to go probably not too high on those guys. Now, Al Horford, these are the guys. He's a guy in the mid-range that I am considering. Him, Tobias Harris, Josh Richardson and Ben Simmons are all a little too cheap with no Embiid. They just get a huge boost. Horford in that last game played 30 minutes, put up 47 fantasy points. He's a guy that'll fill up the stat sheet. 6.9K, it seems too cheap. So I do like him in the mid-range here. Whiteside's also interesting at 6.4K. They said he's expected to play. He missed the last game with a knee injury. If he goes, I think he's a pretty interesting GPP play. Another guy he's not going to play huge minutes, 25 minutes most likely, but man, he could destroy. Teams have been destroying Golden State's front court, so I think Whiteside's an interesting play here for GPPs. A low-owned guy. I like the price on him a good amount. Capella's just never really a guy I get to. The price has dropped, but I think there's better plays. Valanciunas is interesting here at 6K. We got Jaren Jackson Jr. currently listed as doubtful. They've still been limiting his minutes to like 20 to 25 minutes. The price is playable here at 6K. So we still haven't heard anything definitive on his minutes limit, but obviously if he gets 30 minutes, I'd really like him. Again, Jaren Jackson Jr. currently listed as doubtful. Don't expect him to go. They could move Brandon Clark into the starting lineup, or they can move more into a small ball approach. So we'll see how they go about it. Guys like DeAndre Jordan is okay at 5.3K. It's a good matchup. I just think I prefer other cheaper options in this game, or in the slate at least. Derek Favors at 5.3K currently is questionable. This is pretty big news. If he misses, then we'll get to Jahlil Okafor in a sec. But Okafor's price, they just completely botched that. Brooke Lopez and Aaron Baines are okay. Probably just not going to be the way I go on the slate. Now, Brandon Clark's interesting here at 4.8K if he picks up the start. If he comes out the bench, I still think he's going to get in this low to mid-20s minutes. If he starts, I think he could push for 30 minutes. So, and he's another guy that will, he's productive one given time. In just 22 minutes, he put up 40 fantasy points. So if he starts, I would like him a good amount. If he comes out the bench, I still think he's okay, just not as good of a play. Jarrett Allen's interesting here at 4.4K. They've been splitting the center minutes pretty evenly with him and DeAndre Jordan. The concern is that the minutes are just not secure. They're going to ride at the hot hand. If he starts, I would like him a bit more, but still, like I said, they do utilize both centers. Willie Cauley-Stein at 4.4K. They've kind of been limiting his minutes, but they're going up 12, 17, 21. If we get news that he's no minutes limit, then I would really like him here at 4.4K. So that is something we will have to monitor. A guy like Noah Vonleh off the bench, I think I would only consider him if he starts. They started Gorgie Jang last game. So I think I would only go to Vonleh there if he starts. He's okay off the bench, just I don't think the minutes will be enough for me to consider him. Now, Gorgie Jang here at 3.3K, this just kind of sticks out the page. If he starts again, he was the guy I talked about a few nights ago. Guys like him, Scal, and those Golden State guys are my favorite value plays. In just 24 minutes, put up 39 fantasy points. He's a guy that doesn't need a whole lot of minutes to get you there. And if he starts again, I think he's pretty safe for like low to mid-20s minutes, maybe a little bit more. And at 3.3K, that's just like way, way too cheap. So yeah, he's one of my favorite value plays of the day for sure if he picks up the start. Let's see. Quinn's okay here at 3.2K. I think I would only go there if he starts. He still was decent in 18 minutes. Like I said, he's like a fantasy point per minute guy. He put up 20 fantasy points in 18 minutes, 25. If he starts, I would like him a bit more. If he comes on the bench, I still think he's viable. It's not my favorite. Now, Okafor, this again, it's a complete misprice here on DraftKings Park. If Derek Favors misses and Jahlil Okafor starts again, you gotta love him here. He's min price. He'll probably play 25 to 30 minutes. It's a pretty solid matchup. This one I expect to be what is the over-under on this one? Is it out? It's not out yet, but I expect this one to be very high in the 230s, 240s. And Okafor has been starting and playing great basketball. Like I said, he's great. He's a great offensive player. At 3.1K, him and Gorgie Jang just seem like very, very obvious value plays on the slate, at least as of right now. And that's if Derek Favors misses. Scal Labissiere at min price surprisingly didn't start, but still played 23 minutes off the bench. I think I would only consider him if Whiteside misses. With Whiteside back, he's still viable. I just think there's better value plays, guys like Gorgie Jang and guys like Jahlil Okafor if both those guys start. So let's move on to power forward. Giannis at the top at 11.3K. Just had a big game there against the Raptors. Now gets a solid matchup here against the Timberwolves. This one is 234 or 230 and a half over under. The slight concern is Minnesota still playing without Cat, so there's definitely some blowout risk here, I think. The spread is only at 6 points. I think if I was a betting man, I would take the Bucks in that one with no Cat. So yeah, there is slight blowout risk, but he has huge upside. Again, there's not a whole lot to say about Giannis. He's always a great play. Blake Griffin, so this is something we will have to monitor. If he's back, then that's a slight downgrade to Drummond. I still would like Drummond, but a slight hit to him, and it would make a guy like Markieff Morris kind of out of play. So again, something we have to monitor here with Blake Griffin injury news. A guy like Brandon Ingram at 7.2K, it's a great matchup here against Brooklyn. He's been playing great basketball. The concern is, again, it's kind of hard to get these guys in the mid-range when you really want to go stars and scrubs. Like, there's so many of those really cheap guys that I think are very obvious plays, and there's some studs I'll talk about. I already talked about Drummond. We'll talk about some other ones in a sec here. So it kind of makes a guy like Brandon Ingram tricky to play on the slate. Now, Tobias and Al Horford are the two guys I do like kind of in the mid-range. They just get a huge boost with no Embiid. They play big minutes. Tobias will play mid-30s minutes. Horford will play low 30s minutes, but that's just so much usage to go around. So yeah, Tobias and Al Horford are two guys I do like a good amount here in the mid-range. Other options, like Covington's okay at 5.6K. They'll probably need him to guard Giannis. There's obviously some foul trouble risk there. Taurean Prince I kind of like here at 5.4K. He's been stepping up offensively, kind of that number 3 option there in the offense. You got KYRIE and LeVert, obviously, and Taurean Prince kind of being the number 3 guy, but he's been, he's been solid. He's flashing upside here. 51 fantasy points, 40 fantasy points. You can't get a better matchup here than the Pelicans. So at 5.4K, I do kind of like him here in the mid-range. Pascal as well at 5K. With no Draymond started, play 35 minutes. So I think he's going to continue to play that Draymond Green role, mid-30s minutes. And yeah, like I said, if D'Angelo Russell misses 2, there's just Golden State literally has like 9 active players. So a lot of these guys will be asked to play big minutes. I would definitely like Pascal here at 5K. Glenn Robinson, I think I would consider him only if D'Angelo Russell misses. If D'Angelo Russell plays, I still think he's viable. I just think I would prefer a guy like Eric Pascal for 300 more. But, if D'Angelo Russell misses, then yes, all these Golden State guys are 100% in play. Literally all those guys. Let's see. Other options. Markieff Morris would be a guy I would really like if Blake Griffin misses. He's a guy that's been playing low to mid-30s minutes. It's a great matchup here against Washington. And we still got no Derrick Rose, so it's literally Drummond, and that's basically it. So Markieff Morris is going to be kind of like the number 2 guy in that offense, honestly. And he's a guy that will be aggressive offensively. It is a revenge game, too. So, yes, I think if Blake Griffin misses, I would like Markieff Morris there a good amount as a cheap option. Herzonia at 3.7 actually started at center last game against Philly. Well, I guess this kind of started Tolliver at the 5, but still. I think I would consider him if Whiteside misses again. They start that small ball lineup with Tolliver and Herzonia. If with Whiteside back, I think he kind of goes more into that 20-minute range. So again, I think I would only go there if Whiteside misses. Let's see. Like I said, Gorgie Jang, it sticks out the page, is a really, really obvious play for me right now. Same with Okafor. Those 2 value guys are just, they're really way too cheap if they both start. Small forward, Ben Simmons is a guy I think goes a little bit lower owned. Again, I personally will probably lean towards a guy like Tobias and Al Horford for a couple thousand less, but we know the upside's there with no Embiid. Again, a lot of usage to go around. Middleton and Bledsoe, you guys know the story by now. I don't target them with Giannis playing. Same thing with Wiggins, right? 2 scoring dependent. Now, there's no cat, so this is where you can target Wiggins, actually. Personally, I'm not going to, but he's a guy that's going to be, kind of the number 1 there in the offense. Him, Jeff Teague, and he's going to be asked to shoot the ball a ton. Like I said, the Minnesota offense was literally just feed the ball to Cat and get out of the way. With him out of there, these guys are going to have to step it up. And if they want to keep this game close, I think Wiggins, Teague, Covington, one or a couple of those guys are going to have big games. So yeah, he's definitely viable in the mid range. Not someone I think I'm going to play, but not saying you guys can't play him. Covington, same thing. Some of these guys, him, Wiggins, Teague, they're going to have big games here if they want to keep it close. Josh Hart had a big game there, 5.1K. He's been playing solid minutes even with Drew Holiday back. I think I'll let others chase this, though. Like I said, I think I really like some cheap value plays, and I like some studs, so don't necessarily know if I'm going to go get to Josh Hart there. I think I would only go there with, if I'm making a full game stack for that game for GPPs. Let's see. Other options. Jordan Poole, look at that. He was pretty popular last night. The other night. He's very, very scoring dependent. Like I said, he's going to play the minutes, but if his shot's not falling, 9 fantasy points. So I think he goes a lot lower owned on this slate. I would consider him, though, if D'Angelo Russell misses. I think of recency bias. Again, he was really popular that night. He burned a lot of people. You could go back there if D'Angelo Russell misses. But again, just know the concern that he is very, very scoring dependent. So if he's not scoring the ball, he can hurt you. Eric Gordon's interesting here at 4K. We got news that Russell Westbrook most likely going to miss this game. So it's going to be obviously hard in the number 1 guy, but Eric Gordon will step into that number 2 role. And at 4K, he's in play as a value play. Now, same thing with Jordan Poole. The concern with Eric Gordon, very, very scoring dependent. If his shot's not falling, 7, 8 fantasy points. So, yeah, he's viable, and I think recency bias will, get people off him. But we know the upside's there if he's knocking down shots. Let's see. Other options. So now another play that really sticks out the page here is Bruce Brown Jr. So he started at point guard with Still no Reggie Jackson, no Derrick Rose has already been ruled out, and Tim Frazier is doubtful. He played 40 minutes. Now, I don't think we can expect 40 fantasy points again from Bruce Brown Jr., but if he starts at point guard again, I think he plays low to mid 30s minutes and probably gets 25 or so fantasy points, maybe a little bit more in a great matchup. So another guy that I really like as a value play, and I think the price is wrong. So a guy like him, a guy like Okafor, a guy like Gorgie Jang are really sticking off the page for me right now for value plays. I think that's basically it. So let's move on to shooting guard. Harden at the top here, 10.8K. Kind of had a down game there. They got blown out against Miami, but the good news is he didn't play huge minutes. So, and there's no Westbrook, right? It's just a huge boost to Harden. We know last year when there was no Westbrook, Harden was like a 12, 13K player at times. And yeah, we know he's going to shoot the ball a lot. So I think he's one of the top spend ups here with no Westbrook. Yeah, I really like Harden here against Memphis. Brad Beal at 9.4K. It's a tougher matchup here against Detroit. He's a guy, though, that, if they're going to keep it close, he's probably going to have a big game. We know he's going to shoot the ball a ton. That last game he only had 1 assist. Like, he's very, very scoring dependent, 30 points. Normally, he's a guy that will get you rebounds and assists, but I think that was more of an anomaly. But the thing is, are you going to play Brad Beal over a guy like James Harden with no Westbrook? Or are you going to play Brad Beal over like an Andre Drummond if Blake Griffin's out? Probably not, right? So I think he's more of like a pivot for GPPs as a low-owned guy, but probably not going to be the way I go. Now, D'Angelo Russell at 8.6K would like him a good amount if he's available. If he's not available, then we look to all those value guys for Golden State. So, again, something we will have to monitor. Drew Holiday, 8.3K. I still think he's a little overpriced. The matchup is great, though, against Brooklyn. I think I would go there only as part of a game stack. Devin Booker let me down big time the other night. Again, he was kind of like Brad Beal. Did nothing in the rebound and assist department. At 7.9K, I still think I like the price. We know he has 50 fantasy point upside. But probably not going to be the way that I go. It's a tougher matchup here against Philadelphia. CJ McCollum, I like this price a good amount on him. 6.1K is just way too cheap. Now, yeah, he is sometimes defers offensively, but it's just the price tag and the great matchup here against Golden State. So I do like CJ a good amount in the mid-range. I think he's probably 1,000 to 1,500 underpriced, so I do like him a good amount. Same thing with LeVert. It's a great matchup here at 6K. He's the number 2 in the offense. You can't get a better matchup than this. So do like LeVert and CJ a good amount there in the mid-range. Again, no Derrick Rose. Dinwiddie's viable off the bench is probably not going to be the way that I go. Kennard picked up a start at 5K, played big minutes. You could look there. Definitely. It's a great matchup, but are you going to play Luke Kennard over Bruce Brown Jr. for 2,000 less, who's probably going to play the same amount of minutes? I mean, you could. Bruce Brown Jr. is going to be way higher owned, but for me, I'm probably just going to eat the chalk with Bruce Brown Jr. if Tim Frazier misses as well. I do like the price here on Josh Richardson to a good amount. 4.6K is just super underpriced for him. Again, no Embiid. Those 4 main guys get a huge boost here, and Josh Richardson in a close game is going to play mid-30s minutes. So I think he's a very, very solid cheap play at 4.6K. Let's see. So these Golden State guys, literally any of these guys, like Damian Lee, Burks, Jordan Poole, Kai Bowman, these are guys we can look to if D'Angelo Russell misses. If D'Angelo Russell plays, I think there's better value plays on the board. So at least for the guards, if D'Angelo Russell plays, I think the guy I would consider the most would probably be Eric Pascal, just because I think the minutes would stay the same. If D'Angelo Russell plays, that's going to be a big boost or a big minutes decline for those guards. So that's kind of the way I'm approaching it. If D'Angelo Russell misses, then I'm going to target some of these Golden State guys. Thibault picked up a start with no Embiid. It's just, I think there's better value plays on the board. Galloway's interesting here at 3.2K. I think he's an interesting pivot off of a guy like Bruce Brown. He came off the bench, played 28 minutes. If Bruce Brown's not playing well, I think Galloway could pick up more minutes, maybe play into the low to mid-30s. So yeah, I think him and Bruce Brown definitely very viable as cheap options. I think that's basically it, though. So let's move on to point guard. Let's see. I already talked about how I love Harden. Westbrook most likely not going to play. KYRIE Irving against the Pelicans at 9.5K. It's just a great spot here. Kind of was a letdown in the against Houston, but we know he has 60, even 70 fantasy point upside. You can't get a better matchup than this. So I really like KYRIE as a spend up today. Same thing with Lillard at 8.9K. He's going to play close to 40 minutes against Golden State too. Another like one of the best possible matchups you can get. So I think him and CJ both very much underpriced here. A guy like Lonzo, I do like playing. I think he's priced about right though at 7.1K. It is a great matchup, but the issue with him is, am I going to play him over some of those studs? Probably not. Like I really like the stars and scrubs approach because a lot of those cheap guys are just way too underpriced, and a lot of the studs are in great spots too. So some of these guys in the mid-range, like Lonzo Ball, I do like playing. It's just probably not going to be the way I go. Same with Ja Morant. It's just the minutes are not there for him right now. Did play 29 in the last one, put up 39 fantasy points, but I just think there's better ways to go on the slate. Rubio's always safe at 6.5K. Bledsoe, not for me. Teague's interesting. Him, Wiggins, Covington. If they're going to keep it close, these guys are going to have big games. It's a tougher matchup, but I think Teague in a close game plays mid-30s minutes. So, yeah, I think he's very much viable in the mid-range. Isaiah Thomas has just been unbelievable here in limited time. 20 minutes, 28 fantasy points, 24 minutes, 36 fantasy points, 19 minutes, 33 fantasy points. I think he's very much in play as a GPP option here at 4.9K. And if they announce that Isaiah Thomas is starting, I would love him here. So that's something we have to monitor. But yeah, he's looked really good so far this season. Again, I do like Josh Richardson a good amount. Kai Bowman would be a guy I could get to if D'Angelo Russell misses. If D'Angelo Russell plays, it's a cross off for me. I think that's basically it, though. So, like I said, as of right now, I'm recording this Sunday night, but really, like a lot of those stars are in great spots, and a lot of those cheap guys are just way underpriced. So, as of right now, I really like the stars and scrubs approach. Things can always change. So, it's very important to follow me on Twitter, guys. That will be in the description below. I will give my thoughts as we get more news, throughout the day, as well as check out the live stream. I'll probably be live streaming 30, maybe 45 minutes before lock on my YouTube channel. So, be sure to check out the live stream. But yeah, I think that's about it. So thanks again for coming to check out the video, guys. Really appreciate it. And I will be back for another video to break down the NBA slate on Tuesday. So I will see you guys then.